Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us at DevOps Live Meetup. We have an exciting guest tonight. He's going to be talking to us. I'll give you a little intro in a little bit. But before we get started with the meetup, I wanted to give an announcement letting everyone, I'm sure everyone already knows that our DevOps Days Dallas DFW was postponed until August of 2021, which we hope the pandemic will be a little bit better and settled down by then. Maybe we still don't know what the plans will be, but keep monitoring our website. In the meantime, if you visit our DevOpsDays.org website, you'll see that we have plenty of other DevOps days happening around the world virtually. And we have a special event that just came up this in the recent weeks, where three of the Texas cities, organizers from DevOps Days Austin, DevOps Days Dallas, and DevOps Days Houston, are putting together a virtual DevOps Days Texas, which is happening in March of 2021. So be on the lookout. Go to devopsdays.org/Texas and keep an eye on it, because currently our call for papers has not opened up yet, but we'll be opening up soon as the organizers go and start planning things out. So keep an eye on it. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in now to talk to us. His name is Mike Demo. He's going to be talking to us about how to have a human connection with your clients in a COVID-19 world. And I've watched his presentation previously, and I thought it would be a great one, seeing that everybody's going through this, and maybe you haven't seen his presentation. So I invited him to come along, and he's graciously accepted. So let me bring him on right now. Hey, Mike, how you doing today? His name is Mike Demo, and I'll let him introduce a little bit about himself, where he works, what he does, and for a living, and then we'll go ahead and get started with his presentation.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mike. I
Thanks,
really
Mike.
Appreciate that wonderful intro, and I'm so happy to be here for DevOps Meetup. So.
Let me go ahead and bring in the presentation here. There we go.
Awesome. So hi, I'm so happy to virtually see everyone and meet everybody. My name is Mike Demo, and this is how to have a human connections to your clients in a COVID-19 world, or in 2020 in general. Just real quick, a little bit about me. My name is Mike Demo, and I work at Web Ventures. And I have the ability, to be a lead handshaker, a community guy. And so basically my full-time job is hanging out and talking to people in community settings, just like this. So normally I travel about 150 days a year, but this year have not done that, right? I live up here in Minnesota, so basically Canada, and so it's a little bit colder here than in Texas. But I do love Texas. I usually go to a lot of conferences in Houston and San Antonio, and then Open Community Summit in Austin. So I definitely love Texas and go there as much as I can. So let's talk about this topic. It's going to take about a half hour. Then we'll have time for questions, and we'll go from there. So 2020. Let's look back at New Year's Eve last year. You were ready for 2020 to begin. You were all excited. The ball was about to drop. You were watching it on TV, or you're at a bar, or you're at a friend's house, and you're all excited for the new year of possibilities. 2020, a nice round number. And then the event that is going to define our future of the year. The event that was going to define 2020 hit and affected what seemed like everybody in the world was talking about this. You couldn't turn on the news without seeing pictures or hear about, different facts and figures. I am, of course, talking about the Australian wildfires. That happened this year. This year, the year we're in, the Australian wildfires happened. And, of course, California wildfires happened and all that other stuff. And that's what is interesting about 2020 is that, we had the Australian stuff, but what everyone's now talking about is COVID, right? We have COVID. And COVID is here, and it's probably not going to go away anytime soon. We hope a vaccine's coming. Well, we know a vaccine's coming, but we hope it's going to be able to be distributed quickly, and we'll be able to get back to physical events. But I am a face-to-face guy. My literal job title is lead handshaker. I get paid to take people out to dinner. And that's not an exaggeration. The last time I had an event, I took people out to dinner. I was in Miami at WordCamp. And now I have to be virtual. And it's really hard because I need to meet people and connect with people on a face-to-face level. So I needed to figure out how I can have a connection with people that I'm not going to see probably in a while. Maybe years. We don't really know how long it's going to be. Hopefully next year, 2021, hopefully we'll be able to get back to some different events and topics and to be able to see each other again. But until then, we have to try to figure it out. And there's a bunch of different reasons why we might need to have these human connections. First of all, it's good for your well-being. We are all living in little prisons right now. We're all kind of isolated. And yes, we can say we have the ability to go outside and walk our dog and, maybe depending on where we live, maybe go to a socially distanced movie or restaurant or whatever the case may be. But it's hard. Think about work, especially if you're working remote. You are not interacting with people that you used to interact with on a daily basis. You're not having those face-to-face conversations. Before this year, I would go to our offices, and we had offices in 3 states, LA, California, and Virginia Beach. And when I would go to the Virginia Beach office, they would be like, oh, those LA people, they're so lazy, blah, blah, blah. We do the real work. Then when I would go to the LA office, they'd be like, oh, Virginia Beach, they never do anything. They're not here when I need them. Denver would say the same thing. There is something important about face-to-face human connection. It makes a difference. Breaking bread with somebody, seeing the whites of somebody's eyes. That human connection is very important, but we can't do that right now for safety reasons. So how do we continue to have these connections? Well, you need to learn about why you are in business in the first place. Why do you do what you do? It's usually not for a paycheck. It's usually because you might love the technology, or you love your work, or you like helping people. Whatever it is, you need to think about why first, and then we can think about how. And also, at the same time, it might be important for you and your business to have a connection with your clients. It might pay off for the bottom line, and it does. The data shows it. I'll show some charts and things later. But what's more important, in my opinion, is that your clients and your coworkers and your colleagues, they need this human connection too. They might be going through a lot of stuff. They might have kids at home that are doing social distance learning. I am lucky enough to not have kids. My joke is saying I've never been happier to not have kids than 2020. But we all have different things going on. We might have sick family members. Maybe they lost somebody due to COVID. We just really don't know. And it's more important than ever to reach out and to try to have these different connections. So what I did this year is I tried to figure out all the weird ways that I could personally get people to laugh, smile, talk to me, and have conversations not at all related to my core business. And we're going to talk about some of that today. So this is the last photo of when I took people out to dinner. This is at the Mai Kai Tiki Bar. in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We took a whole group of people after WordCamp Miami, and this was on March 1st. The last day before all the travel ended. I love taking people out. I love tiki bars. I go to tiki bars all the time. I have a tiki mug collection that's like 100 mugs deep. I just bought some Shag Art, which is a big tiki artist out of California. So this was the last thing. We can't do this right now. So how do we do something else? Well, there's email, right? Good old-fashioned email. You can email people. Now, I don't mean a MailChimp email newsletter. Yes, that has a place. I mean a personal note and saying, hey, client name, how are you doing? Not, hey, client name, let me know how I can sell you something. And I know it's hard. I have to remind myself of this too. But just ask how they're doing. Ask about their kids. Hopefully you have a CRM database that has some of this data in there. Things like birth dates. Do they have children? Do they not have children? How long have they been at the company? You can usually find a lot of this data on LinkedIn and other sources. But try to, kind of reach out. A nice tip for that is for half birthdays. Send them a note on their half birthday. Everyone gets a message on their birthday. No one gets a message on their half birthday. And it's going to make them remember you and your brand. So email is one thing that you can definitely do, but it's also a little impersonal. You definitely, if you do this, make sure to have some personal notes or comments. Don't just do a big mail merge and say, dear name, I hope you are having a good holiday season, blah, blah, blah. You don't want it to sound inauthentic. If you're inauthentic, it's going to come through and it's just not going to have the effect that you want. Pick up the phone and call someone. We have these things called phones, and you can talk to people on these phones. Nobody calls people anymore. And just call. I probably have a physical phone call. I don't mean a Zoom call. I mean a physical phone call with a client about once or twice a week, just to see how they're doing. Talk about their kids. Talk about their holidays. And that's honestly all the conversation we have. That's it. Just to try to have those human connections. And if you pick up the phone and call someone, they're going to remember you because nobody calls anyone anymore. So this can work as well. You can also text people, but again, it loses some of the personality, in my opinion. You can do webinars and video content like this. That is great. The only problem with it is there's a lot of Zoom fatigue right now. We're all in Zoom meetings all day. We have these webinars and conferences that are all online. See? Mike says happy people on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn will actually tell you when it's their birthday, so they make it super easy. Well, we're all in these webinars all day. We're all in these conferences. So if you're doing video content, make it different, make it interactive, try to have it be funny. I attended some conferences this year that had live magic shows on, as the entertainment, or jugglers, or there was a rescue dog animal actor show at one of the conferences I went to. So make the content short, about 20 minutes if you can. Any longer than that, people start to zone out, and you want them to be engaged in your content. And make it not salesy, make it educational, or just make it fun in general. Some ideas there. A good idea for the content that I've seen is there's a company in the WordPress space that at every conference they do a live cooking show for an hour. And that's it, so they did nachos with a live chef one time, and then they would send you the recipe cards in the mail and tell you the ingredient list. They did burgers once, they did Philly cheesesteaks another time. And again, it's content that's engaging with your brand, but not directly about your product. Send out a physical note. This is super easy. Send out a physical card. Stuff in the mail works really, really well. People love getting stuff in the mail. So cards are great. The problem with cards is everyone sends cards, so it's a little bit different. I like to send what I call lumpy mail. So things that physically are not flat. Things that have bulk to them. Things that I've sent in the past is I've sent 90 pounds of pasta to different people in our community. Yes, 90 pounds of pasta. And it cost me $19 shipped. And people found that hilarious. Some of the video content I did is I did a virtual escape room nights with our different clients and people in our community, and that worked out really well. I've sent custom stuffed animals, a company's mascots, to them. I've sent them pitch decks if it's a prospective client in a Viewmaster, one of those things that you click that have the reels, but the reels were my slides instead of that. So that all works pretty well. And embrace your weirdness. You don't want to send another pen or the same stuff that every other company is sending. Don't send another t-shirt. Yeah, t-shirts are fine. T-shirts are cool, but if it doesn't really make it different for your brand, then don't use it. One of our brands is called Bold Grid, and we have Tide to-go pens, Tide stain remover pens that you get at Target or Walmart to remove coffee stains off your shirt or whatever. That's our thing. We've given out over 80,000 of those pens, and it's kind of become our thing, where everyone else is trying fidget spinners and whatever cell phone chargers and the same, just throwaway swag. And it doesn't always have to be branded either. It can just be a gift to be a gift. One of our community members had a birthday that really loved Wonder Woman, so I found an artist that made a wonderful Wonder Woman art and sent that limited edition Leclerc to her art print. So figure out what's weird, and it doesn't have to be expensive, and just kind of really lean into that. These are some pictures of some things that I've sent out this year. So in the upper left, that's a custom stuffed animal of one of our community members' mascots. The middle, I sent to a bunch of people these custom mugs. These are like $15 shipped with their name on them and a little note. The bottom right is just a box of cookies with a little note. Upper right is that custom pitch deck viewfinder thing I was telling you about. That goes to prospective clients along with some other fun stuff. And the bottom left is one of the 4 bags of pasta that I sent to multiple people. And I thought that was funny. And if it makes me laugh, at least I'm getting something out of it, but I have yet to find somebody that hasn't found my antics at least humorous. There's different community members that got married. So you know what I did? I sent them Taco Bell tacos. Not gift cards, not physically tacos, but in a wedding card, and Taco Bell sells gift cards that are wedding themed. Apparently, it's a thing, but enough for them to make them, and it works. Taco Bell to wedding bells and whatever. It doesn't have to be expensive. It can just be a couple of dollars. Or sometimes nothing at all, but physical stuff, especially right now, it means a lot more to people than you realize. And they're going to remember you, and that is going to have an impact on your bottom line. Because people remember experiences and talk about them. They are going to recommend your products or services, not because you're the best company, not because you have the best code or the best tech stack. As long as you do a good job. Now, you can't do a poor job and then try to, buy your way out of it with just stuff. You have to have a good service to begin with. But that's not going to be what gives you those referrals long term. It's not going to be what make people remember you for the longest time. When people talk about going to Disney World, most people don't talk about what they did or the rides. They usually talk most about a cast member interaction that they've had or a memory they've made. They don't talk about this product that they bought, in this case theme park tickets. They talk about the experiences that they make. So you need to have experiences with your brand, and that's where all of this comes down to, because people remember experiences and talk about them, and they share those experiences because we are storytellers by default as human beings, and all they want is to be able to tell stories. Especially now, they want to tell stories more than ever, and they want to talk to people. Your clients are dying for you to talk to them about something besides work. I promise you. It might feel awkward at first, but it will just come naturally. Because when they leave for a different company, they will remember you. When they talk about somebody in 2 years, they'll remember you. Even if they don't even remember what your business is, they'll remember the 90 pounds of pasta you sent. And that is what your goal is find weird stuff that you like and just embrace your weirdness. Now let's talk about some numbers. You are 5 times more likely to close a deal through an existing relationship according to Marketing Matrix. It costs 7 times more to land a new client than to sell through an existing one. Clients who are referred by a friend are, that's according to Bain & Company. Clients who are referred by a friend are 4 times more likely to buy from you. And that's what it kind of boils down to. Like, we all hate like those people on Facebook, right? Those those multi-level marketing companies and like Amway and Melaleuca and Pampered Chef and all that stuff, DMing. But relationship marketing, yes, hounding your friends and family to join your downline is not a good thing to do. But the idea that relationships should be on the forefront, that is a good idea. Now, we are not in multi-level marketing, most likely. We are in service-based businesses or, helping our companies with their products. But at the end of the day, it's still people driving all of this. And we want to have those experiences that people want to talk about and remember you and your brand for. Think about referral acquisition cost. Don't think about client acquisition cost. Everyone talks about, client acquisition cost. How much does it cost to get a new client? And that can be very high, especially if you're doing things like affiliate marketing or whatever the case. You want to see how much it costs for you to get a referral. And if you know that your average client lifetime value is, let's say, $1,000. In a lot of cases, it's much higher. But let's say your lifetime client value is $1,000. That means, after all costs are taken out, that means you can give stuff, you can send cool stuff to your existing clients that up to $1,000 and still make money. Now, I wouldn't suggest, in this case, spending $950 to every single client you have just to get that one, but it is going to pay off. One of the people that I wanted to do for holiday gifts this year, we spent $300 on them. But that person is worth hundreds of thousands, if not more, for us. Mike asked, what if you work for a company that doesn't give enough budget to send something physical to your clients? Then what I would start with is digital touches. So emails, phone calls, e-cards, things like that. Paperless Post has a beautiful cards you can send that are free. Hallmark has e-cards as well. All the Paperless Post is much nicer looking, quite frankly. And and then more importantly, start tracking the referrals that come off of that. Now it's going to take time. You're not going to get a referral day one. It might take months or years for this constant effort to come back and pay with you. There's a friend of mine, John Rampton. He used to own Host.com and now owns Do.com, writes for CNN, Forbes, Fox Business, and a bunch of other places like that. He taught me that he's like, for every 10 people I help, I'll make this much money. For every 100 people I help, I'll make this much money. For every 1,000 people I help, I'll make this much money. And that was in the 9 figures. And he's figured it out. So start tracking that data, because if you can prove the numbers that human connection helps the bottom line, you're going to get more budget over time. But you can start a lot of this with digital touches, because it has to go back with, to be genuine. At the end of the day, people are going to smell a sales pitch a mile away. They're going to smell something that doesn't feel like it came from you. It doesn't feel like something that you're generally interested in. So if you can be genuine in digital or on the phone, start with that. If you're lucky enough to have budget, I know a lot of companies that did have budget for physical events, and now that physical events are canceled, maybe you can move that budget to something else. Maybe not. It all depends on your unique circumstance. Although we're coming on to 2021, so you might be able to do some last minute lobbying before next year's budget, depending on when your fiscal year is. But you want to be genuine. You want to be yourself. For example, on my blog, which most of my clients follow, I came out as part of the LGBTQA plus community, and this blog got thousands of shares, hundreds of DMs, tons of posts of positive impact, and some not so nice comments and DMs too. But it's the internet, so we live with that. But at the end of the day, you want to be genuine in all your communications, and people will feel that. If people feel like they can trust you, they'll usually do business with you or try to help you any way they can. It might be in the back of their mind until they have that perfect moment where they came across a time to refer you, but it will pay back over time, and I firmly believe that. I got the job I have now just by being nice to people. I took the current owner of my company snorkeling back in Mexico at a conference like 8 years ago or something like that. And then I saw him 2 or 3 years later, and he's like, Todd, and his name's Todd. He's like, oh, Demo, you probably don't remember me. I'm like, Todd, yeah, we went snorkeling. He's like, how do you remember that? I'm like, because we went snorkeling. You don't forget a snorkeling experience. And I just have that knack to try to, remember people. And a couple conversations later, I have my current job. And so people remember experiences and talk about them. So that kind of ends the formal presentation part of this talk. I'm happy to answer any questions, comments, have a discussion, depending on what people have or want to talk about. I want to respect your time, of course, and make sure it's valuable for you and all that. So.
There we go. Thanks, Mike. This is very informative. I like the format, but it's true, like you said. I mean, it's all about kind of building a rapport with the customer. Building that rapport, because nowadays, you used to do it a lot physical when you go to conferences and stuff like that, but nowadays there's no conferences. Everybody's locked down, and you have to find a way to build that rapport with different clients, and yeah, I was just kind of curious that's why I posted that question about how do you do it when you don't have customers that, or where they don't give you your company doesn't give you that budget. But you gave some great ideas. I have a comment here. We had somebody, Sureshi, posted a thank you there. Let me share it here. But yeah, it's one of those things that you have to build a rapport with customers, and being nice. It's a good way, but sometimes, like you said, when you don't have enough budget, then you have to find other ways to be creative, and being transparent and genuine is things that help a lot.
Yeah, exactly. It's if somebody comes off and thinks you're just being nice to them to make a sale, or to help your own KPI. For example, Web Ventures, we buy companies. That's our main thing, and that's one of my jobs, right? Is to meet prospective owners that might want to sell their company, but I'm not commissioned. I am the advocate for the owner. Now, yes, we need to acquire companies to stay in business because that's our model, but I am aligned with the owner. If the owner at any time feels like, this isn't a fit, we're still friends, and we still keep that relationship going, because it might not be a fit for them today. It might be a fit in a couple of years, or more likely they might know someone down the road that might be looking to sell their business, and as long as they had a good relationship with us, even if it didn't work out, because there's lots of reasons. Sometimes we say no too, because sometimes, it has to be a win-win. But my goal is for everyone I interact with of every transaction to feel like they were treated fairly, honestly, and had a good experience. And that's when I started doing this. Is I started sending closing gifts. Like whenever we ever closed a deal, I would send stuff that I found out like through dinners and things what they liked. So like one person really liked animals and was a really believer in conservation. So I adopted a penguin at their local zoo. They were in Europe, and they got a little package in the post from that. And so that's how I started doing this, is when we started doing closing gifts, and I wanted them to be personal, not just like a bottle of champagne and like that old standard like Wolf of Wall Street-ish stuff. I wanted it to actually something that they would actually appreciate. And sometimes it's a donation, sometimes it's a physical item, sometimes it's an experience like tickets to a concert or something. But I get to know them and what their interests are. And honestly, I've made more than one friendship through this. One of the companies that we acquired, I'm now friends with the owner, even though the transaction's done. And he sent me a signed Pac-Man arcade cabinet by the creator of Pac-Man for my birthday this year.
Wow,
which was amazing. Cool. Which was amazing. And when when a year ago we bought him, so it's just.
Yeah, it's a two-way kind of communication, because you build rapport with them, they build a rapport with you, and so forth.
Yep.
And it's a good way to stay in touch, and that kind of rapport spreads more through word of mouth to other, because he may have some friends that he goes, oh well, you should talk to Mike Demo and do some business with them. They're awesome. They do this, they do that, and it just the word of mouth just keeps replicating over and over.
Exactly, and that's where it goes back to the experiences. People remember experiences, because when you send a package or even a card or even a phone call, if that phone call is genuine and not salesy, I recommend don't bring in sales to any of these touches.
Right.
You can always have a separate conversation related to that. But there's something special about getting something in the mail. There's something special about a present. Like, I don't know if you've ever worked at a company where like the CEO's mail gets opened by like a secretary or an admin or something.
Yes.
Letters get opened. Packages don't. Packages don't get opened. And so then it's going to get opened by the person it's intended to get opened by. And it's like a little mini present. It's like a little present. And, they don't know what's in it. And it creates this whole little moment. If you send them a gift card, even if it's just a $2 Taco Bell gift card, they'll remember it when they get the gift card. They'll remember it when they use it. And then they'll laugh about it when they're like, yeah, this weird guy sent me a $2 Taco Bell gift card for my wedding. But it all is about the experiences and the human connection, because I, by definition, I've done the test. I'm technically an introvert, which a lot of people don't believe, right? Because I travel for a living.
Right.
But, conferences are exhausting. Talking to people is exhausting. But it's so rewarding, because it's how the world moves forward. And even if like I'm not going to do business with someone, I still try to help them however I can, because the word of mouth is what matters more. And what matters most is, the karma. Like, I believe karma pays back eventually. So.
Right. Sometimes you could call a customer and say, let's catch up, and you make a video call with that person, and you're just talking about random stuff. It doesn't have to be about work,
Yeah.
They just appreciate that by itself.
Exactly. Another thing you can do that's free is you can send a video email. So there's products out there like Vidyard, which is free. So like I did a webinar at a conference a couple months ago, and I got an email. They gave me an email list of everybody I attended. I sent every person, it was like 150 people, a custom video message where I actually said, "Hey, Bill, thanks so much. I hope you got a lot out of it. You can click the link below to watch the replay. My email is just reply to this email if you need anything." Again, I really appreciate it. And I did everyone one by one by name. And people are like, "Oh my God, that's so much." But at the end of the day, I timed it. I did all like 150 in under like 3 hours. So if like from recording to send. So
it's personalized.
It wasn't that much work, but they remember it, and it wasn't one of those fake personalizations which has me holding a piece of paper that has their name fakely put on there by the computer. No, it was me physically recording, and that's another thing you can do that's free. So it's all about just showing genuine interest. I used to sell timeshares. I used to be a timeshare salesperson, and timeshares
I need to talk to you about something.
Timeshares are easy to sell. Seriously, all you need to do is have
hard
the person.
to get rid of.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't buy. Yeah, I'm not going to get into that. Timeshares are easy to sell because all you have to do is get the person to like you and talk about their friends and their family and their experiences. Now, a lot of timeshare salespeople use it unethically. That's why I'm not in the business anymore. But I learned a lot about how to have a genuine interest. And it wasn't just me going through the motions. I generally wanted to know about their families and their kids and their personalities and and what they were interested in. And if the product was a fit, great. If it wasn't, that's cool too. I didn't care if they bought or not. But yeah, I get it. I've sat through a few presentations on my own, so I mean, I get both sides of the coin there.
And sometimes, like you were saying, those video calls, like if you personalize them, I mean, you can even make them kind of wacky, like you said, weird, wear a different hat or something and kind of personalize differently. That way, if they ever hear, if they have friends that, with other people, and they say, "Oh, I got this weird video from Mike Demo," and they go, "Oh, I got one too," and then they kind of share it with each other, and they see difference. It's personalized and everything.
Exactly. Yeah. So one of the best things of this video format I've seen, it was from an e-commerce store. It was a magic shop, and they did this, and they patented the technology that did it. You can still do it on your own though. So what they would do is, if you bought products, you would get an email that said, "Yep, your order's on its way," and you'd be like, "Cool." But if you opened the email, you saw a video of your actual order getting assembled and put into the box. Wow. And people would say, "Do you want to share this video?" And they got so much business from people sharing these boxing videos of, they would see like their products that they ordered being put into the box, and it made them more excited about what was coming, and it made them want to order more. And so it's just little things can go a long way, and people are always looking for these big gestures and big marketing plans and big efforts when those have their place, but little things can make a difference too.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, I really appreciate you sharing your tips on how to stay kind of connected with clients, because I mean, during these tough times, it's very hard sometimes to find different ways, and it's always good to hear other people's perspectives on what they do, to stay connected.
Yeah, my pleasure.
But I really do appreciate it, and let's give a few more seconds here to see if there's anybody else with comments or anybody else. But if not, we have your Twitter out there, and if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to Mike. And I'm sure if you can't reach him, let me know, and we'll figure out a way to get your questions answered. So
Twitter is the best way to get a hold of me. I'm on
Twitter,
very active. So
sounds great. Well, you have a happy holiday, Mike, and we'll stay in touch on Slack and Twitter and all these other venues.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike.
Take care. Have a good one.